Check. 1, 2. We should be getting started soon. Panda's just making some tea. Panda's in a ranty mood right now.
Hey, man.
We just finished watching Owl House.
Finished watching.
As in we watched all the episodes there are, only to find out that the show got cancelled because
It was too gay.
it was too gay.
Oh, also, I guess Disney couldn't figure out who to market to. So, you know, rather than ignoring the entire demographic that has gone head over heels for Funimation and shonen and shoujo anime. Seriously, my boss's 10-year-old daughter was watching Kakegurui, and you decide to cancel this.
Mm-hmm.
She could have watched this. There's a lot of kids. I can say that. Kids, they're minors. There's a lot of kids who are watching shows like Bungo Stray Dogs, which is 10 different older audience, completely misinterpreting it because they're not capable of like making the kinds of connections that you can once you're like past an AP Lit course level of reading comp.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is easily digestible for. And then they're like, oh, the audience skewed too old. You know, Disney keeps doing this. They're just like they're like, you know, we don't know what teenagers want. We know, let's make Hannah Montana. And then you know, there's no teenagers who watch Hannah Montana. Maybe like the tweens like it. I didn't like it. That was I was a little advanced for my time. But, like,
You might want to step closer to the mic. There's only one person watching right now.
Was it Wildbow?
Probably? Oh no, there's 2 people.
2 people. Who's the 2 people?
I don't know.
Hello, welcome to my evening rant. I'm feeling angry.
Huh. I wonder why YouTube chat's not showing up on the stream. I didn't? Sorry. Okay, it is working. All right, good to know. No, I'm not on mute. Oh, well,
I think that's part of why I'm just in such a bad mood. And I'm dehydrated. I am angry.
mm-hmm.
Angry. Very angry.
It was a good show.
It's a good show. They're just like, we're going to cancel it because we don't know who's going to watch it. And I'm just kind of like, this has the same feel as shonen manga. You know how many people read shonen manga? Everybody from age 10 to like 20 plus is like reading shonen jump. You kidding me?
Right.
We don't know who to market it to. You can market it to everyone. Something like this, you could literally market it to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know who Eda's for. Eda's for, well, everybody, like the parents.
Yeah.
I would say. I think we do better than that. I loved Eda. More of that.
She was a good character. We don't see enough old women.
I don't see enough, right?
Stories, right?
Well, yeah, they usually just disappear. And actually, she's a baddie old witch, but she does it very well. And you know what? Life goals.
Yeah.
Life goals.
Seriously.
I saw that, and I was just like, and my 30-year-old self was like, I have never had a female adult role model until now.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
All right.
Okay, maybe I was about to say, okay, maybe I don't want a gold tooth, and then I realized I do have one.
Mm-hmm.
I have a gold inlay on my premolar. I actually have a gold tooth. I am well on my way to being crazy owl lady. Yes. Seriously, being a writer is a curse. Suddenly, you're unable to consume trash without being completely aware of the fact that you are consuming garbage.
I don't know about that. There are writers who will consume trash happily, right?
No, but without being aware of it.
And write it.
No, you have to be.
No, I'm serious. I guarantee you. There are a ton of writers out there.
I know. My thoughts first went to my good friend Bunny. Thought about Bunny who likes to project uwu, and that's why she's not on the server. No, she's not here. There's not enough uwu in Worm. She wouldn't be here.
Okay.
I don't know how she found Bungo Stray Dogs, actually, given that. But anyway. No idea how she found it, actually. Shouldn't you be? No, I'm not gonna be mean. I'm just saying.
Can people hear us? Can you hear us all right?
I'm just saying. I don't know. For me, maybe, yes, I'm a little bit of a snob, but like, I have just become completely unable to consume garbage. And of course, when I find something that's good and that I like, I will rant to you about how good it is for hours. This is the real reason why I need to take my friends out for scotch, because they're going to need that to listen to me talk. Hope you guys have your drinks ready. It's panda time.
Mm-hmm. All right. Tea's almost ready, and then we can get started.
Tea, this is Ben tea. I'm kidding.
Don't spill it now.
I do what I want.
Yeah. So I think we're gonna start trying different formats. We're experimenting with doing different ways of live reading, because just doing the text responses is really it's taxing. So Panda would rather just talk out loud, and I figure if we stream it on YouTube, we could also record the videos and just make it available for other people to watch later.
I'm wearing makeup. No one can see it. I look great today.
You're very beautiful.
You're gonna have to take my word for it. Oh wait, I think I have a selfie I took when I went to the dentist's office this morning. Yeah.
All right. If you type in the Doof Media live reads channel, or if you type in YouTube, we should be able to see it and respond.
Are you talking to me?
No, I'm talking to chat.
You looked at me.
Well, I just wanted some, real human eye contact here.
You're not going to get it from me. I'm very bad at eye contact. You're barking up the wrong tree, honey. Okay, I've gotten better at eye contact. I mean, the therapy was very useful. I've gotten better.
All right. Are you excited for a new arc?
Happened last time?
What happened last time?
Did we leave off on the whole battery and assault
Yeah,
thing?
you're still mad about that?
Mad's not the right word. Squick is.
You're still squick about that. That's fine.
I mean, look, it was. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna cut Wildbow some slack. I mean, it was an extremely long interlude, and look, I've spent the last 2 years. 2 years. Holy shit. I spent the last 2 years writing a narrative about, like, kind of a questionable dude and a younger, I guess, not necessarily impressionable, but a younger, slightly younger female heroine who, I guess, has some issues to work out. I've spent the last 2 years working on this thing. This. Yeah. So as long as that interlude was, it's just, this is just, there's so much shit in complicated characters like that I don't know if it's possible to, like, really condense down a story like that. Vignettes, he went the right way with the little vignettes, but it's just so hard.
I think we came to the consensus that if Battery and Assault story happened over a longer period and was more fleshed out, it would have come across better, right?
It needed more fleshing out, so that, we just kind of have to assume that, like, good things happened, like that. We have to assume the turning. Like, I'm spending 2 years on this shit. I mean, am I ever gonna be done with this?
Yeah, you'll get there. Just keep writing.
What does my life become? Part-time dentistry, part-time writing fanfic. Like, my life depends on it, because I don't know. I like having a creative project. This is no different than if I decided to start a painting and start, like, going for it in my garage. I would still spend 5 years on it. Yeah, I can see that. I'm nuts. Anyway, what was I saying? Just, yeah, the whole battery and assault thing, it's just, you can definitely do this story. Still a better love story than Twilight. I will give you that. But I will always say that. I will always say that. Twilight is shit. Fight me. Anyway, there's ways to do good stories. With like characters at those starting points, you're going to need to show a lot of turning points. You're going to need to show a lot of the characters turning towards each other. And there was just not enough time to do that. Like Wildbow would have had to do basically an entire spin-off to do that story justice. You know, like say Beast for like Bungo Stray Dogs, right? Like an entire light novel. You need an entire fucking light novel to do this. It wasn't there. That's okay. I would say I'd be happy to write this for you, but I don't like what's his face, so you know.
You don't. Okay.
The ass. That's fine. Yes, ass. I don't like ass.
You don't like ass.
Yes, I'm not into ass. Got it. So yeah, I don't like ass, so I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it.
Anyway. Prior to that, we had the Jack Slash interlude, where he
gave us his whole grocery list of how he's keeping people in line.
I hope you understand him better now.
I understand he's a fucking freak, is what?
Yeah.
They're all fucking freaks.
The whole book is full of stories that you would need a whole other book to tell in full. Yeah, basically. If you take a look at the YouTube channel, or if you take a look at the Discord, you, Jess,
talking to me this time.
You, Panda, you can pay attention. You can follow along with chat.
Too much effort.
Okay, well.
Have fun, bitches.
I'll just call it out if anyone types anything.
I use the word bitches in a non-gendered way. Please don't be offended, anyone. I call myself a bitch, and I'm non-binary.
Yeah. And what else? Right. The Slaughterhouse 9 announced their presence, right? And
didn't they do that like 2 years ago?
I'm just gonna blink at you. It has been a while since we read those chapters. I agree.
I'm sorry. That's on me. That's on me. Roman going like, oh, should we do a live read? And me going, yeah, but I got my own story to write. Yeah. And then I don't write and I play Night in the Woods. No, actually, I have been writing. Like, if I'm not asleep, cooking, running errands, or at work, I'm writing.
Okay.
No, I'm serious. That's all I do now.
Let's take a break from writing and do some reading. Okay.
Story time.
Yeah,
Tell me a story.
I don't think we're gonna be doing this for very long. Maybe half an hour or so.
Yeah.
Until you feel like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Wildbow says, hopefully your own writing went okay.
Are you serious? I have to laugh. I wouldn't if I don't laugh. I cry.
You're doing fine.
Says you.
Says me, your editor.
Yeah,
You're doing fine.
You're a very kind editor. You should be like chasing me down and like being like, "Where's the next manuscript?" Well, you know where I live. You know where I sleep. Yeah, you know where I live. No, seriously, if I'm not asleep, running errands, going for runs, or at work, or at like my day job, I'm writing. My other friends who write fanfic are just like, wow, Panda, how do you do it? And I'm just kind of like, I'm insane as what? I clearly lost a good chunk of my mind during the pandemic.
Imagine how much more writing you could get done if you didn't have a day job.
Actually, I would have finished this thing.
Yeah.
I would have finished this entire book 1 already in like 1 year. I would be midway through book 2. I had the entire master outline done like within like, how much was it? I had the entire master outline done in like 2 months. Because I'm usually pretty good at figuring out like the beginning, the middle, and the end. But then like I have to tie the pieces together, and that's the hard part. That's where you come in. Thank you, dear editor.
You are welcome.
Basic thing I don't run or have other work. You should try running. It's really good for you. Also, drink kale smoothies and do yoga. It's like good for you.
Just don't put peanut butter on your kale smoothies.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. Terrible idea.
I'm never following anything from that blog again. It tasted really good when it was just pineapple and kale. Heavy on the pineapple. I needed fiber.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, don't do any of those things that like those people from LA do. Just don't. It's very bad life advice. I'm pretty sure all that stuff will kill you faster.
All right.
Snare
Snare 13.1.
Woo! Lucky number 13. Let's go.
Let's go. Brian was waiting for me as I passed through the door and into Coil's underground base.
Brian.
You remember Brian?
Is that Gru's name?
Yes, that's Gru's name.
So how long has she been calling him Brian instead of Gru?
That's a very good question.
I'm just saying, I'm very intentional with, like, of course, I'm also using, like,
No, she's been
Japanese
calling him that
honorifics.
since she
Oh, that's true. Oh, yeah, that's
met
right.
them,
So
right?
that's right. If he's in the mask, he's Gru. If he's not in the mask, he's Brian.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay, I was gonna say, like, usually people are very intentional about these things. I would expect somebody like Wildbow to actually be intentional about this. Like, I'm very intentional about how I use names. Okay.
Panda was voguing when she said mask, by the way.
Was I voguing?
She was voguing.
Mask?
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah.
What can I say? I love me some, like, I watched all of Pose. Fantastic show. Y'all should watch Pose. Pose was fan-fucking-tastic. 3 seasons of perfection. Yes, there's a little wish fulfillment. Who cares? Trans rights. Yes. Anyway.
He held a paper out to me. Sirs and
He did a
madams.
flourish. He did a flourish. Let it be on the record that Namor did this little, like, flourish thing. Like a fucking, like, scribe or a page or whatever.
We're gonna pass this half hour, and I'm gonna have gotten through like 4 sentences. Can I keep going?
Yeah.
All right. Sirs and madams, the terms of engagement are as follows. 1. 3 days to each member of the Slaughterhouse 9.
You're using the Jack Slash voice, right?
I am using the Jack Slash voice.
Terms of engagement. Ooh, he's hitting on you. I'm kidding.
So we can conduct our test. Tests will be performed one after the other with 8 rounds in total.
My Villain Academia.
Yep. 2. A successful test or the removal of a candidate who has failed a test will earn the tester bonus time. 3 to 12 hours for a successful test depending on the number of candidates remaining, and 24 hours for an execution.
This must have been very fun to plan and write.
Yeah?
You know, this is so much better thought out than Squid Game. Yes, I must always bag on Squid Game. Go on.
3. Should a tester suffer a sound defeat at the hands of any individual during their allotted time, they will be penalized 1 day of allotted time. 4. Each tester operates independently with no hands-on assistance from other members of the Slaughterhouse 9. Assistance may be bought, bartered, or otherwise rendered in a hands-off manner.
So I'm not going to remember any of this, by the way.
That's
You
fine.
can just go through it because, like, you know what happened? You know those did you guys have those teachers in, like, high school or middle school where they would give you, like, a quiz on the first day and then it would say, please read all the instructions before doing the thing, right? Yeah, I didn't do that. I don't read instructions.
And how do you do on those quizzes?
Well, they weren't graded. It was just like the first day of class where they were just like, aha, gotcha. It's that gotcha thing. We're like, see, you got to read the instructions. And of course, I don't know how I got this far being that bitch who's like, I make my own rules. But anyway, I'm not going to remember any of this.
That's fine. I
So-
can summarize it for you at the end if you want.
I think maybe we could keep this on a tab or something and you can do callbacks whenever somebody breaks the rules or follows the rules or whatever. It's just
I don't know if I'm going to remember any of
I'm not
this
gonna
either.
remember of any of this. Like this is like I don't know. Can we just play Settlers of Catan? This is sounding a little complicated here.
All right. Assistance may be bought, bartered, or otherwise rendered in a hands-off manner, possibly including medical assistance, information.
When he says hands off, are we talking like literally? Like our hands gonna be taken? We're gonna chop hands off.
Not out of the question with Bonesaw involved.
Return of Bloodthirsty Panda. Whoop whoop. Throw your hands in the air like you just don't care whether they're still attached or not.
Possibly including medical assistance, information, provided equipment, and suggestions. 5. Candidates may receive assistance, hands-on or otherwise, from Brockton Bay residents only. We are fully aware that Legend and his teammates are in Brockton Bay.
So many hand jokes, so little time.
Should they interfere with the tester, all candidates will lose the protection of any rules, all terms offered here will cease, and the threat implied in point 8 will be carried out. This only applies to confrontations with the active tester.
Oh my god, it's an entire like terms and conditions thing. Like it's bloody, yes, but it's like terms and conditions. I would never survive a death game run by this guy. I would just kind of be like, "What are the rules again?" and get my head chopped off.
6. The Slaughterhouse 9 will handle the punishment of any members of their own team in the event of failures, the inability of the tester to perform at least a partial round of testing, or killing a candidate without notification. 7. Should the defending parties have 2 or more candidates remaining when the 8th round of testing concludes, the Slaughterhouse 9 will depart Brockton Bay without incident and refrain from returning for 3 years at a minimum.
So you win the death games, and they'll just not come back for 3 years. They'll still come back.
Well,
They might still come back.
3 years at a minimum, I guess, is nicer than coming back in a year or so.
Yeah, but I'm just saying you can encounter them twice during your high school years, and
That's true, huh? It's
That's
kind of
not a
it's
lot
a
of-
shit deal, isn't
that's
it?
not a lot of time. I mean, speaking as an old woman, like 3 years is like nothing.
If this was shown in manga, they would just be reformed, right? They would just stop killing entirely.
Which shonen manga? You're gonna have to be very specific
I
because
guess so.
like One Piece, like nobody dies in One Piece until they die, and like there's like definitely series where people don't get reformed; they just kind of die.
Yeah.
Things have changed.
But yeah, the win condition is 2 or more candidates remaining.
2 more test candidates remaining.
Exactly.
All right. Are you a gambling lady, Taylor?
8. If and when the Slaughterhouse 9 do eliminate
Boogie girl. What?
5 of the 6 candidates, or if any candidates leave the city, the Slaughterhouse 9 are prepared to penalize the city for their failure. Mannequin is the first to carry out his round of testing. He has 2 days remaining. We will be in touch. Where is everyone? I asked, handing the paper back to him. He pointed down the hall. Christ, Brian said, shaking his head as he walked, rereading the terms. He opened the door for me. Coyle was inside at the end of a long table. The Undersiders sat at one side of the table, with Circus sitting at the farthest edge beside Coyle. The Travelers, minus Noel, sat along the other side. I took note of the blonde teenager, who wasn't even wearing part of a costume. Oliver. Coyle was the opposite, as fully covered as ever. Everyone else was costumed, but they had their masks and helmets off. I got my first good look at Lisa since I'd left her bleeding in Ballistics headquarters.
That's right. How is she?
The scar ran from the corner of her mouth to the corner of her jaw, and dark stitches ran down the length of it. The slang term for this kind of injury was a Glasgow smile, or a Chelsea smile, but the term seemed ill-fitting.
I've never heard of that, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I learned something new today.
Yay.
This might be relevant for my line of work.
Where Lisa often had a grin on her face, the cut pulled the corner of her mouth down into a perpetual, lopsided frown rather than a smile.
It's okay, girl. You still cute. You the cutest.
Lisa's great, isn't she?
She's great.
Yeah.
She's really cute.
Bitch gave me a dark look as I entered, but many of the others were smiling. The people in my territory are singing your praises, Skitter, Ballistic said. My territory too, Alec added. I didn't do anything that special.
Girl, you need to work on your self-esteem issues. She took down Mannequin, and Brian's just like, dude, you took down Mannequin. She's like, it's not a big deal. Oh wow, everybody thinks you're so great. It's not a good deal. Girl, please see someone about your self-esteem issues. Girl.
I didn't do anything special. My power did the work.
Oh my god, wow. Come on. I've been through a few rounds of therapy. I know what you're doing. I used to do it. Come on, girl. Give yourself some, credit.
And you kicked Mannequin's ass, Trickster said.
Thank you.
He leaned back in his chair, balancing on 2 of the legs, his feet on the table. You had a busy night. Honestly, I didn't kick his ass. He got some of my people, he thrashed me, I got a piece of him.
Sounds like you kicked his ass.
No, Lisa said, her voice quiet. She couldn't really move one corner of her mouth when talking, so her words came out slightly slurred.
Yikes.
I saw her work her tongue in her mouth and then take a sip of water, wincing. Brian had updated me. the cut had probably damaged one or more of her salivary glands, and she'd have dry mouth until it healed. Maybe forever.
Let me think about this one for a sec. Ouch. Ow.
Be careful. Be careful.
Let me think. Let's see, salivary glands. Let's see. The parotid's pretty big. I guess you could have damaged some of it. There's the submandibular. I think I need to look up a diagram. I don't know. So you might have dry mouth for a little bit. I don't know if you looked this one up. I haven't really seen this kind of thing. This is usually the oral surgeon's department, not mine. I guess I'll give you a pass, but I don't think this is entirely accurate. I think actually she'd be okay for a little bit. Let's see, here to here. Yeah, the submandibular is underneath. So I don't think you have any on the side there like that. Unless, like, let's see, if we're talking corner of the mouth all the way to the jaw, then you would have had to slash completely, like, sideways. But if you did the parotid, then that would be very, very bad because the parotid's huge. The parotid's, like, really close to the ear. So there's, like, a big one right here. There's, like, a big one down here. And inside your mouth, you have all these, like, little assorted ones. And then you have, like, openings down here, opening, like, up here. Like, it kind of...
You know they can't see you point, right?
I'm pointing to various areas of the mouth. Actually, with this kind of an injury, she would have escaped most of the salivary gland damage.
Okay.
But she could have... Here's where you could have gotten a little bit more interesting. You could have slashed part of the facial nerve or the trigeminal. She could be in, like, she could be in just, like, pain for a very, very long time, even without movement.
Oof.
Yeah. So if you if the damage was deep enough that you actually slashed open a nerve, that would be pretty bad. You could also have slashed a blood vessel. So the scarring is going to be permanent for sure if it's, like, deep enough. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what I'm getting. Like, this is at least what I'm getting. Like, I'm a little behind on my anatomy. I'd have to open up my textbook I do have one. I'd have to open up my oral surgery textbook to, like, go over this with you. But, like, what did it say? She was going to have, like, dry mouth?
Dry mouth until it healed, maybe forever.
That's a tough one because you have so many salivary glands. The ones I pointed out to Namor are the four, like, biggest ones that I can think of off the top of my head. I don't think she's going to have dry mouth. It actually takes a lot to have dry mouth. Mm-hmm. Usually that comes with, like, that's going to come with things like radiation damage from, like, oral cancer, mm-hmm. and also from high use of medication. So say, like, meth mouth, for instance. Mm-hmm. So it's at least this age, it would be very difficult for her to have, like, dry mouth permanently. And hey, even if you do, there's Biotine. Over-the-counter medicine. It's a mouthwash. Over-the-counter. We always recommend it if you have dry mouth. Well, here's the thing. Lisa's going to have to, like, this should heal. She's young. She's relatively healthy. She's going to have a permanent scar from this, but she should heal relatively well, I would think. Like, if she can still move her mouth, then it might not have been too bad. I mean, I don't remember that chapter exactly. The worst case scenario here is, like, it goes so deep that it severs the nerve, severs the blood vessel. I think actually it did sever the blood vessel. It severed the facial.
She was bleeding a lot, right?
Yeah, okay, so that means, so we're going to assume that it cut, like, her entire, like, jaw open. Mm-hmm. So that would have severed her facial artery. She's actually extremely lucky she's not paralyzed. She should, if it went that far, she could have actually been paralyzed there, but she can actually move her jaw, which is pretty good. She's got blood flow, just a little jaw. She's actually going to heal very well. So just from what I'm guessing, if a friend told me this, I would say she's going to heal very well with minimal scarring. She's just going to have to avoid, like, spicy food, things that'll make you sensitive for a little bit. Yeah, maybe. It sounds like she didn't need, like, a screw in her jaw either. So she was extremely fortunate. She's got a very good outlook, a very good prognosis. She's going to be fine. And
I guess I'd rather take the dry mouth over the nerve damage.
Yeah, because, nerve damage, you're going to talk like this forever. So that's how you're going to sound when you talk. You know, like when you go to the dentist and they numb you and then you can't talk and you're dribbling? Imagine that, but permanent. and also extremely painful for the rest of your life. That's what I would have worried about from her actual injury.
Worm would be very different if that's the way Tattletale talked for the rest of the series.
Oh man, the snappy remarks. Remember this thing. Oh, yeah. See, this is why, yeah, like, I shouldn't be writing things like this. I shouldn't be writing shows like this because, you know, things you know, yeah. Go on.
All right.
She'll be fine.
The really scary part was that she might have suffered some nerve damage as well.
No!
How much of that half frown was because of the direction of the cut and the way the stitches pulled? And how much was because her nerves were damaged enough that her face was drooping?
Good news, by the way, she's young. Nerves have a funny way of not regenerating necessarily, but like, you know, the brain makes new connections. You maybe with a little PT, she might be actually okay. Quail can arrange that, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. She caught me looking and gave me a wink.
So cute. I still ship it.
She took another gulp of water and cleared her throat before speaking again. They took 1 day from Mannequin because they thought he lost. If the enemy thinks they lost, Brian said, that's a good enough reason to think you've won.
You kicked his ass! Woo!
I privately disagreed, but I didn't say anything.
Tay, we need to work on your self-esteem, girl. Pride journal. You start tonight.
I pulled up a chair and sat at the corner of the table furthest from Coil, wincing at the pain in my ribs as I bent down.
Seriously, your friend got her face cut open and you're just kind of like, yes, you got your ass kicked too, but, well, you're relatively whole. Good job, girl. Good job. Good job. 8 out of 10. Good job.
So, Brian said, you intend for something like this to happen when you made your suggestion, Tattletale? Lisa shrugged. Sorta. Thought he'd take the bait. Didn't know how far. It's not all advantageous, I said, thinking aloud. Yes, we're now in a position where we could win, with some planning or luck. And the plan we were hashing out at our meeting might be easier now. But we're also facing pretty heavy consequences if we fail. Heavier consequences. And there's a lot of places where this could go wrong. We don't even know who all the candidates are. Me, Bitch, Armsmaster, Noel, probably Hookwolf, and someone in Faultline's crew? Alec said. No, Jack said they picked 2 heroes. Hookwolf, yes, but their last pick is a hero, not one of Faultline's, Lisa said.
Oh, that's right, it was Panacea.
Oh, yeah, very good.
No, I remember that.
You remember?
I like Panacea. I find her relatable on some fronts.
Mm-hmm. And...
But I got therapy, so I'm doing better.
Mm-hmm. And we can't say for sure who this person is or what actions they plan to take, I said. Too much hinges on everyone else's willingness to cooperate and play by the rules. And the stuff that happened at the last meeting of the city's villains makes me skeptical. Brian nodded. It's important that we find this person. Make sure they play along so we don't wind up losing before this game of theirs even starts. There's other problems here, I said. We can't forget what Dina said about Jack. If he leaves town, it could mean disaster.
Wait, why?
If we win, we could all lose in the long run, because it'd mean he left town and Dina's prophecy would come true. Do you remember the prophecy? If Jack Slash leaves Brockton Bay, then I believe in 2 years, a large percentage of the population of the world is going to die.
They don't know why, do they?
They don't know why. Dina just made this prophecy, but she can't figure out the cause of it.
Ooh.
Yeah. Hell, a lot hinges on whether the Protectorate is on the same page as us. If they arrest him and take him out of town...
Ah, those pricks.
It could mean the end of the world. Right, I said. Hookwolf has proposed an all-out attack, Coyle spoke for the first time since my arrival. He wants to gather the more powerful members of his alliance together into an army, an attempt to overwhelm the Nine and kill Jack Slash in the chaos. That won't work, Brian shook his head. These guys specialize in dealing with crowds, and they're experienced when it comes to that sort of thing.
Pretty sure you wouldn't. I'm pretty sure an army's not going to work. I mean, the fact of it is we have a lot of nations that are heavily armed and they're still around, so yeah, that's not going to work.
Hookwolf believes our local capes are collectively strong enough to do what other groups couldn't. Maybe they are, but I wouldn't bet on it. We should be focused on what we can do, Brian said. You guys
Good
are better.
Man, Brian. Good man, Brian. Good man.
Yeah. You guys are better set up for information gathering and escapes, Trickster said. We could take them on, depending on who it is and how small the group is. But I don't know how well we do in those circumstances. We should mix up our teams, then, Brian said. Just between us, we've got 3 candidates. Noelle, Regent, and Bitch. 3 targets. Crawler couldn't reach Noelle where we've got her stashed, Trickster said. I'm not sure what the others could do. What about when Siberian comes after Noelle? I asked. Will the same measure stop her? Probably not, Trickster replied. This would be a lot easier if you tell us more about her, I pointed out.
Her who?
Noelle.
Oh, yeah.
Unless...
Was Noelle, Alex's sister? Or
No.
getting their names mixed
Noelle
up?
is one of the travelers.
Right,
the one in the vault.
The vault. Yeah,
Yeah.
Vault girl.
Mm-hmm. Unless you think she can hold her own against the 9, we're going to be helping protect her. Trickster frowned. There's not much to say. She's in containment, and if she doesn't stay where she is, things would get worse. Fast. So she's dangerous, and she's not entirely in control of her power?
Hot and dangerous, if you want to write... Oh, sorry, I had to.
He tilted his chair forward until it was flat on the ground and set his elbows on the table, hands clasped in front of his mouth. He glanced down the table at his teammates. I wasn't sure, but I thought maybe he glanced briefly at Coil. With a resigned tone, he told us. She's dangerous enough that if Siberian got to her, I think she'd make it out okay. The rest of us wouldn't.
That's an endorsement.
The table was silent for a moment.
It's raining outside. That's great. Fun.
I could see something in the faces of the travelers. Pain? It wasn't physical, so perhaps it was emotional? It could be fear, guilt, regret, or any number of other things. Trickster's words reminded me of what Sundancer had said back when she and I had fought Lung. Sundancer had held back in using her power because she was frightened about hurting bystanders or killing the people she attacked. Her power was too hard to use without hurting someone. Ballistic was the same. Was Noelle another case of the same thing? That same too powerful ability, only on a greater scale?
I like this trope.
Yeah.
That is a great trope.
Brian sighed. We'll deal with Noelle's situation when it comes up. We have 3 targets they're going to be coming after, with the 4th if we consider that Mannequin will be after Skitter. If we split into 2 groups, then we can maintain enough offensive power to defend ourselves against the ones like Mannequin, Burnscar, Jack, or Shadowbird. Sundancer cut in. Which makes me wonder. Sorry, this is a crummy idea, but what if we waited for Jack's turn and then tried to kill him? No guarantees there, Brian answered her. I think we'll have to be proactive in going after him. Maybe we can use Hookwolf's distraction. Maybe he'll get cocky and make a mistake.
That's a good bet. Sorry.
Doubt it, Tattletale said. He's lasted years doing what he does. I couldn't help but nod in agreement. Besides, he goes last, Tattletale finished. To get back to what you were saying, you were proposing dividing the teams? Coil spoke.
Why should Tattletale know instead of Lisa? Never mind. Okay.
That's a good observation.
It's because they all mean business now. They're in business mode.
They're in business mode. It's business time.
Gross. Man, that is like the least sexy way to refer to it. It really is. The worst.
You were proposing dividing the teams? Yeah, Brian said. Bitch has offensive power of her own. Skitter does too. If there's no complaints, we could play this largely geographically. Maybe me, Imp, Bitch, and Skitter? If you guys can put your differences aside? No problem, I said. Whatever, Bitch answered, non-committal. It was only when Brian mentioned Imp that I realized Aisha was present. I'd almost missed her. I wanted to believe that was because she was sitting at the end of the table, and there were 4 of my teammates between us, but I couldn't be sure. It would be damn nice if there was some sort of gradual immunity to her power. And maybe someone else who isn't raw offense? Circus? Brian suggested. Coil spoke before Circus could reply. No. I pulled her off of the task as a precautionary measure, as I had one aspect of my long-term plans derailed last night with Trainwreck's demise at the Nine's hands. I would rather she did not fall to an unfortunate coincidence of the same nature. What happened? Sundancer asked. They've eliminated the merchants, Coil said.
Oh yeah, that's right. Didn't what was his name? Skidmark become an actual Skidmark?
Yep.
Kinda.
Yep.
He went to the propeller like. Brrr.
Yep.
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 The least respect, the most disrespectful way of putting it. Yeah, he got propellered, not blended. Skidmark smoothie.
I wasn't sure how to feel about that. The merchants were scum of the worst sort. It wasn't just that they polluted everything they touched and did some reprehensible things. They reveled in it.
And they get words like pucker juicy asshole just kind of stuck in your repertoire forever.
Good thing you don't have to hear anymore, right?
Didn't you hear me? It's stuck in my head like a skid mark on the side of the road. It's stuck now.
They
I'm sorry
wanted...
for latching onto that.
It's a fun thing to laugh on.
But I'm just saying, if it's stuck with me, it's going to be stuck with all of you too.
Yep. They wanted to be the lowest of the low. On the other hand, it was a point for their side. 7 or 8 parahumans we no longer had to fight the Nine with. Also, I would prefer her involvement in my operation stay under wraps. She can defend Noelle and myself for the time being. Then Trickster? Or Genesis? Brian asked. I would rather stay close to Noelle, Trickster said. If Genesis is willing, that would be fine. And that leaves Ballistic, Sundancer, Trickster, Noelle, Regent, and Tattletale for the second group. We stay together, we keep an eye on our territories to watch for trouble from Hookwolf's contingent, and we keep an eye out for opportunity. Tattletale? You're good watching the downtown areas? Lisa nodded. And Skitter has the sensory abilities to check areas of the dock where the Undersiders have territory. I'll need to visit each area in turn, unless we have some people to pass on messages and a means of communication. I arranged a delivery, Quail said. You'll each be provided with a satellite phone before you leave, with mobile phones to use when the towers are in operation again.
Fancy.
It won't be immediate, but I have shipments of new generators, appliances, laptops, and other necessities on the way. With the information Hookwolf has provided us about Shatterbird's power, I think we could shield the most necessary pieces of equipment with soundproofing in case of a repeat incident. My bugs did hear something just before the blast hit, I said. Is her power ultrasonic?
Supersonic. I feel like there's a song in there, but I don't know enough. Go on.
Something like that. Tattletale believes that Shatterbird's power causes glass to resonate at a very particular frequency, where it generates that same resonation in other pieces of glass with the aid of her power, perpetuating the effect until it runs out of large pieces of glass to affect. And, Lisa said, she probably has a reason for hitting the entire city like she does. She took another drink of water. Big pieces of glass help transmit the signal. Maybe smaller shards help her in another way. Probably helps or allows more delicate movements. I'm not saying I'm not happy to be getting more concrete information on how they operate. I just wish it was against the ones we don't have any idea how to stop. Like Crawler and Siberian, I said. We use the same strategy we used to fight Aegis, Brian said. When fighting an opponent who won't go down, you run, you distract. You occupy them with other things, and you contain them to buy yourself time to do what you have to do. He was right. It just wasn't ideal. Avoiding or containing them was easier said than done, for one thing, and it was less an answer than a stopgap measure. We've addressed the most pertinent crisis, then, Quail said. Is there anything else? Any ideas or requests? I had an idea, Aisha said. No, Brian said.
Yeah, you know, as an older sibling, can't confirm. No.
I know what you're about to say because we talked this over. It's a bad idea. Let's hear it.
Listen to your brother, sweetheart.
Let's hear it, Trickster spoke up, leaning forward.
Lol.
Brian scowled, and Aisha smiled wickedly.
They're getting together.
How old is Trickster again?
I don't know, but Aisha, do you think Aisha cares? Like, Aisha strikes me as the kind of person who's just kind of like, oh, let's do it just for shits and giggles.
Fair. Yeah, they're all teenagers.
I don't know about Trickster, but...
Trickster's a teenager.
Oh.
Yeah.
Then it's fine.
Okay.
Aisha's nuts from what I remember.
The biggest threat from these guys is that they could strike at any time from any direction. So, why don't we spy on them? We find out where they are, and then we keep tabs on their movements. I can handle one shift, Genesis does the next.
That's actually not a terrible idea.
They won't notice me, and Genesis can stay concealed. It's far too risky, Brian said.
Yeah, I assume she's okay with dying.
You joined this team so I could stop you from getting yourself killed. It would be nice to know what they're up to, Trickster cut in. They won't even know I'm there. You think...
Cocky teenagers.
You think they won't know you're there, Brian said. There's a distinction there. It's important, and it could either lead to a minor advantage, a huge advantage, Aisha said.
Or you could be playing right into, like, their hands.
Or it could lead to you being turned into a human test subject for whatever fucked up idea Bonesaw had recently, Brian finished, ignoring her. No! I got a power, and it's a useful power. Except you don't want me to use it, because you think it's going to stop working all of a sudden, or someone is going to see me. Dragon saw you, Brian said, and you're only alive because she doesn't kill people. Looking at Brian and Aisha, I knew this discussion would get worse before it got better. I cut in before either of them said something regrettable. Imp. It's a good idea, but they do have a way of sensing you. Cherish can sense emotions, and if Dragon is any indication, your power primarily works through sight, hearing, and touch. Like Gru's. She can probably find you and track you down. We don't know that, Aisha said. It's a pretty good, educated guess, I think. I know you want to be useful, but we can make more use of you if you're with us, going up against someone like Mannequin or Shadowbird, who are far less likely to be able to see you. Help us defend ourselves. This sucks! Imp, Gru said, as he glanced at the others at the table and frowned. We're in the company of our employers and our peers. Let's stay professional and discuss this after. Professional?
Oh my god, if I had a quarter for every time I heard those words.
Professional? You asshole! You're the one who's refusing to use my talents because I'm your sister. I've been on the team longer than Skitter was, when you guys were robbing a bank and fighting the ABB.
Ooh! Oh, I like this! Dish girl, keep it coming!
You're younger, and she's more level-headed. Enough, Coil said.
No, let them continue, Coil. Let this, come on. Jerry.
It served to shut them both up. For a few seconds, anyways. Aisha scowled. Enough is right. I'll see you guys later. Hey, Brian stood from his seat. I think I wasn't the only one to look up at him and wonder why. He looked at us, similarly confused.
And he was looking at him, and she was looking at... How was that? We were looking at... He was looking at me, and I was looking at him, you know? Oh.
He looked at us, similarly confused, and then sat down just as quickly as he'd stood. Lisa looked pensive. I nudged her and asked, You okay? Yeah, she replied. Then she looked at Coil. Hey, while you're asking for suggestions, I have an idea. Anything helps. You think you could get your hands on some surveillance hardware? Skitter's working on some new costumes, and I was thinking we could have something like small cameras mounted on our masks or helmets. I can inquire with my usual suppliers. Why? I think we've got one teammate that's sort of hard for the rest of you to keep track of, and I think it might help. And if nobody objects, I'm kind of wanting to take a less hands-on approach from here on out. I've batted a pretty low percentage as far as injuries over the last few months of action. Glory Girl, Bakuda, Leviathan, now this incident with Jack. If I had a means of communication and the gear to give me some eyes on the scene, I think I could be more useful. Coil looked at Brian. I gave you a hard time about your having to take the same risks as the rest of us back when you first joined, but I think you've done your share. So long as you're contributing, Brian said. Coil nodded. I'll see what we can prepare. Lisa smiled a little, using only the one side of her mouth.
Still cute, girl.
And that's a section break. Would you like to stop there?
I think it's a good time to stop, yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're going to stop there. Let me know what you think of this new format. The YouTube video should just be up for anyone who wants to tune in later.
Can't imagine why, but...
Yeah. All right. And we'll probably pick this up, I don't know, whenever we feel like it. Yeah. All right. Like and subscribe, I guess?
No, please don't. I mean, honestly...
Okay, don't do it.
How much time have you got? Or how much more is there?
How much more is there?
I could do another, like, 5 minutes, maybe.
That was a really good stopping point, is the thing. And, oh, there's honestly not that much more.
Let's just finish it.
Okay.
I started a puzzle.
Okay. Then, we're finishing the chapter.
So rare. The rare one, don't let it get away.
Hooray, let's keep going. Our canine mounts raced through the streets with impunity.
Aww.
The glass that covered the roads, the lack of windows, windshields, or working dashboards, and the few cars that still ran, all contributed to the glacial pace of traffic. There was little for the dogs to watch out for, no moving vehicles, and few bystanders. Every stride the dog took made the bag I was carrying bang against my hip, and made every injury I had explode with pain. I clenched my teeth and endured it.
Don't clench, it's bad for you.
There weren't many other options. I could hardly complain to Bitch.
I mean, you sure that her name's Bitch? I don't think she'd mind a little bitchin', I'm just saying.
Bitch was well in the lead, and there was a kind of aggression to how she rode. She pulled ahead, evading cars by only a couple of inches, forcing them to swerve, and she goaded Bentley faster with kicks and shouts.
Her name is Bitch, and yet she has a dog named Bentley. Something about that's really funny.
We hadn't raised the topic of Bitch in her nomination for the 9. I think the others hadn't wanted to add tension and the possibility of argument or violence to the already complicated situation. I know I hadn't. My last real interaction with Bitch was when we'd parted ways after the fight with Dragon. I'd told her we were even, but there had been some anger and hurt feelings on both sides. I was the last person she wanted to have grilling her. Bitch made Bentley slow to a walk as she reached my territory. It still took us a good 30 seconds to catch up. Using my power, I signaled Sierra and Charlotte. Gru, Bitch, and I climbed down from our dogs and then led them forward. Mannequin slipped by you once, Gru said. You gonna be able to keep an eye out? I had some ideas, but I'm running low on resources, I said. Let me see what I can do. Genesis began to appear a short distance away, near Bitch. A blurry beige and yellow, vaguely human-shaped figure coalesced into being. The shape then sharpened into features and altered in hue until there was the figure of a teenage girl, vaguely cartoonish. By the time we reached her, she looked indistinguishable from a regular girl. She had auburn hair, freckles, and thick glasses. A small smile touched her face as she stretched her arms and legs. Everything good? Gru asked her. Good enough. I'm going to keep this shape until Coil's people can deliver my real body. Then I'll need to recuperate some. Sure. Bitch scowled at me. Bastard, her puppy, stood beside her. He had received the brunt of her power and looked roughly as large as an adult Great Dane.
The son of the bitch.
The son of the bitch.
Yeah, sorry.
The features were different from her usual dogs. The spikes had more symmetry to their arrangement, and the muscles looked less like tangles. It tugged briefly on the chain that led from her hand to its collar, and she pulled back sharply. It didn't pull again, though it was easily powerful enough to knock her over. My people met us as we entered the neighborhoods where my lair and the barracks we'd set up were. Sierra and Charlotte were in the lead, the 3 ex-ABB members behind them. The O'Daly clan stood at more of a distance, all either members of the family, friends, or romantic partners.
O'Daly?
O'Daly was, I think, Charlotte's family?
No, just like, interesting name. Okay, go on.
Or Sierra's family. One of them.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Ba, ba, ba. Where was I? They stood at more of a distance, all either members of the family, friends, or romantic partners. Other smaller families filled in the gaps. My gang numbered nearly 50 people in total. Holy crap, Genesis said. It's why we wanted to set up base here, Gru said. Skitter's the most established of us. I've been focusing on structural repairs and building when I'm not helping my teammates, Genesis said. I don't have many threats to get rid of, and it was the best way for me to be productive. And meanwhile, you're further than I expected to get in half a year.
Stop it, you're making her blush.
I couldn't bring myself to feel proud.
Taylor, we need to work on this! Girl, start a fucking Pride journal!
I guess I'm motivated.
It's an understatement, man.
Genesis whistled, looking around. There were some looks of confusion as she strode forward into the crowd. I suppose it was unusual for a teenage girl to be in the company of 3 known supervillains and a mass of monstrous dogs. Sierra, I said. Status? Sierra's the redhead?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. I forgot the voices I used for them.
Okay, I forgot to.
Yeah. We're nearly done with the second building. There isn't a lot of elbow room, so we've been cleaning up the road. Good. No trouble? Not that I know of. I pulled the bag from over my shoulder and handed it to her. Distribute these to the people in charge of the various groups. Distribute these to the people in charge of the various groups. Work it out so you can pass on messages quickly and get any necessary information to me ASAP.
Work it out.
Okay, she grunted as she took the bag. Genesis, I spoke. You said you were doing some rebuilding? She slapped her stomach. Made some mortar? Just a matter of sticking stuff back where it's supposed to be, if it's obvious enough.
She's kind of like Momo from like MHA, but like, you know, not supposed to be like sexy bait.
Yep. Want to see what you can do before your body gets here? She nodded and headed off. My minions rapidly backed away from her as she began dissolving. Charlotte? Yes? How set up is the building you guys were working on? Mess is cleaned out, but we haven't moved much in. That should be fine. We ready? Gru asked. I turned to face him and Bitch. Just about. Bitch, there's a space set aside that we can use for your dogs. We'll patrol through the various territories in an hour or so. Stop by your territory and pick up some supplies for them. And you can bring your dogs here. I had to resist adding an if that's okay. Firmness would work best with her, even if it did carry the risk of provoking her.
Yeah, so many like T types in this story. Everybody's like thinking with their brains and like not with like. I'm just pointing out that like most of the characters in this series are like brain types.
Mm-hmm.
Or just like everything's about the brain first. Feelings, what are those? Get it off. You know, like just like that's my read of like, man, everybody's like this. Okay.
And Bitch says, fine.
Good enough. I'll take it. It's pretty good for her.
Good, Gru said. Let's go rest and eat. We can wait for Genesis. And the other gear Coil is dropping off. I had enough bugs nearby to start setting up my early warning system. With the assistance of a horde of flying insects, I began guiding spiders through various points of my territory.
Ugh.
They drew out lines of silk across alleyways and doors, windows and rooftops. I couldn't spare the spiders, so I placed ants on each line. They would feel it if there was a vibration. Not as well as the spiders, but well enough. 10,000 tripwires for Mannequin to navigate past. My expectation was for the lines to maybe give me an early warning of Mannequin's approach, sometime in the coming hours, maybe in the dead of night. I didn't expect to find him in the span of a minute. A figure on a nearby rooftop was striding through the webs and avoiding the bugs. I stopped. Mannequin. Nope.
Oh.
We're close to finishing though.
Okay, I was like, oh, that's a good place to stop.
Everyone else froze. Even the dogs seemed to mime their master's stillness. But he was already leaving, moving with surprising swiftness as he pushed through another few lines of webbing at the edge of the roof furthest from us. A second later, he was on the ground, moving through an alleyway. We could go after him, Gru asked. We couldn't catch him, I don't think, I said. And he may be trying to bait us into a trap. Or maybe he wants to loop around while we give chase and kill my people. Shit, I didn't think he'd come so quickly. We weren't exactly inconspicuous. I frowned. Mannequin was on guard for a trap, enough that he'd probably noticed the tripwire and decided to retreat. Mannequin and I had an estimation of one another now. Neither of us wanted a direct confrontation. Both of us would be wary of traps or trickery. He was a tinker. He would have prepared something to ward against the tactic I had employed last time. Topping it off, amassing people to please Coil had the unfortunate side effect of making me more vulnerable to Mannequin's attacks. He could hurt me without even getting close to me, the second I let my guard down and gave him an avenue for attack. The only ambiguous advantage we had over him was that he was working with a time limit. He needed to test bitch and get revenge on me, in addition to dealing with all of the other candidates, and he had less than 48 hours to do it. I wasn't so sure that was a good thing. It was beginning to dawn on me that we were what we were in for. 48 hours of being on the edge of our seats, unable to sleep deeply, constantly watching for attack from Mannequin or from Hookwolf's contingent. When we were done, we faced 72 hours of the same thing. We'd be that much more tired, that much more likely to make a mistake. Then we'd have to do it again, and again, and again. 8 rounds in total. From my altercation with Mannequin, I knew we wouldn't make it through even the first few encounters without some loss, some injury or casualty. By the time the 8th round of testing rolled around, what kind of condition would we be in? What condition would my territory be in? I'd initially seen Tattletale's deal with Jack as a good thing, a minuscule chance at success, with some drawbacks and negative points. The more I dwelled on it, the more daunting it seemed.
It's okay, girl, you got this. I believe in you.
You okay? Drew asked me. A little spooked, I admitted. He set a hand on my shoulder. We'll make it.
Sorry, what?
Say that louder.
Do I have to?
No, you don't have to. Speaking from the perspective of someone who had gone toe-to-toe with these guys, I wasn't so convinced.
End chapter.
End of chapter.
All right.
All right.
Hi.
We got through a full chapter.
Yay. And as a bad listener, see, I had a game up. That's how I was able to pay attention. They should have just given me a fidget spinner when I was a student. Probably would have done a little better. Actually, I did pretty well as a student. I would have been unstoppable, man.
All right.
All right. Sorry, it was a little hard to follow.
I don't think it was too hard to follow. Oh wait, you're responding to Wildbow?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that, but how did that feel
For me?
as a format?
I don't know. I feel like we finally got through it. Now that I'm not like pausing, like anytime anytime I say anything, you're like, quick, write that down. So it became kind of like annoying.
Okay.
So not having to like write anything. Look, that took us like less than an hour. We got through the whole thing.
Yeah. Hold on. I actually don't know how many words that was. Let me.
Okay, but I'm just saying we got through that in less than an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't have to stop and write. That was way better.
All right. I think we're gonna keep doing this, and everything will be up on YouTube.
Wait, did we start a channel for this?
This is my personal channel.
Oh.
Yeah. So everything will be up on YouTube, so you can listen.
So this has all been recorded for posterity.
Yep.
We're not doing this anymore.
Enjoy.
No.
All right.
No.
I think we're gonna sign off there. Good night, everyone.
No. My horrible voice.